What's going on, guys? We're back again today for another installment on our gear reflection series. For anybody new, welcome. This is basically a series of videos where I go back and reflect on pros and cons, likes and dislikes for various guitars I've owned in probably the past 10 years or so. I want to share some information. Hope you guys find this helpful if maybe you run across these guitars, whether they be new or used, and I hope you guys find some use out of the series. So our topic for today's video is going to be the Ibanez S series. I always thought it was such an innovative design to have such an outrageously thin body shape. Definitely something that can save a lot of weight. I think the idea behind it is less mass, less bulk, potentially some better ergonomics, having a much thinner body, right? Sometimes you'll find that certain guitar brands just have too thick of a body, so I love the idea going ultra thin. Ibanez models are known to have literally the most confusing possible names, so be sure to put up all the specifics, the details, the specs so you guys can review. This one was like an interesting like aquaburst satin flame maple. It's pretty cool. This was part of their Iron Label series. This collection of guitars was something that Ibanez put together to more so align with like your modern metal player. A lot of cool stuff here. Locking tuners, blank ebony fretboard. It's got a nice exotic finish on there. If I recall correctly, these either came with a three-piece maple Babinga neck or a maple Purple Heart neck. This one I had, specifically, it was the maple Babinga neck. If I'm not mistaken, I feel like Babinga has like some major restriction through CITES. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure you see most builders companies now, they don't offer Babinga, at least for this market. As far as the neck shape, as you would expect with any Ibanez, super thin, super fast. You've got that awesome wizard profile. Love it. Again, super stable with that three-piece construction. Ebony boards looking pretty good. Fretwork was acceptable. I don't think that this particular one was anything to write home about. It's not going to be quite on the level of like their Prestige series made in Japan, but for the price point, an import made guitar, I thought it was definitely sufficient. So as far as like the pros and cons of the actual series within Ibanez, again, super thin, super lightweight, very interesting. I love the forward thinking design with the S series, but it really is a massive double-edged sword. On one hand, you can make the case for how awesome it is to be so thin and light, but as a trade-off, you basically have what I would essentially call a dysfunctional guitar. You end up with such an imbalance from the weight of the headstock and that paper-thin, lightweight body. I mean, these guitars have probably some of the worst neck dive I've ever experienced in solid body electric guitars. I don't care if you have a strap, it doesn't matter if you're sitting or standing. I mean, you're just constantly just fighting, just overwhelming neck dive. So in my perspective from owning one of these, yeah, it's just a hard pass for me, guys. I mean, I really think that like the purpose behind going super thin and light, it could serve a purpose. Maybe if this was like engineered to work within the design of like a headless model, maybe that could be a thing at some point. But if you're gonna have the mass of locking tuners, such a thin body, to me, it's just, you're not really solving a problem. You're basically introducing a new problem. And when you have such extreme neck dive, in my opinion, what you're left with is a dysfunctional guitar. So any of like the ergonomic benefits of having all those weight savings, I mean, it's just basically out the window at that point. Now, the other thing I'll mention too, a lot of these, this particular Iron Label model I'm talking about here, this one did have a very like sharp edge like on the body. You guys, if you've seen enough of my videos, I'm pretty much a stickler as far as like some type of like wrist or forearm contour, something that provides more of a comfortable soft edge. And this one, again, super thin, super flat, and you just kind of have like that hard, that 90-degree angle, like where your wrist would rest. So for me, that's pretty much, it's a no-go. And I can always appreciate Ibanez, nothing against the brand. I love the Wizard necks. I think they've come out with some great developments over the years. I love the shape of like a basic RG. I mean, maybe if they were to like redesign the S series, something that just kind of has maybe a healthier balance, maybe just a little bit more of a rounded edge, almost kind of like what Music Man does. Maybe there's some possibilities. They could kind of revamp everything and just kind of check some more boxes as far as like comfort, ergonomics, and balance. I can't say I was the biggest fan of the binding on these guitars. That's just a personal taste thing. I don't want to say that's a good or bad or a problem, but yeah, it kind of does add somewhat of an appearance, but for me, it's just never been a plus. I'd rather just look at just the consistency of like the finish and the top wood. As far as any other like solid body, modern style electric guitar, I mean, no complaints as far as like the sound, the tones. I think everything sounded as expected, but for me and like what I tend to focus on within the space of this channel is we can make any guitar sound good, right? If you have the right pickups, you've got the right person playing it, you've got the right production chain, all those different factors, right? So I've really never been a person myself to make a buying decision based on the end result in terms of like the sound as far as some type of review or demonstration. I really like to focus on the ergonomics, things that make the guitar more playable, less playable, and ultimately, is this an instrument I want to feel that I connect with, that's comfortable to hang from your body for maybe longer periods of time? So these are going to be those critical factors that determine if the guitar is going to work or not. So that's kind of my overall thoughts on the S series. Again, very cool, modern concept. I know there's going to be some different people with different opinions. At the end of the day, it's just going to come down to your personal taste. But as always, I like to share these perspectives to ultimately help you guys figure out if this is something that might be your cup of tea. So that's going to wrap it up. Thank you guys so much, as always, for watching. Be sure to leave your comment section down below. Subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have an awesome day.